Yay! On your way back. There, yeah. Go down, and then there's a bathroom right there.
Could we give it up to us? I'm glad to see you here, such a beautiful day. So let's take this opportunity to bring our energy and let ourselves join and feel the energy of everybody around us. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? We are one. Looks like there's a lot of us in here, but we are one. Take a deep breath now. The true self born inside of every one of us. I want to welcome everybody that's coming in online right now for Facebook Live. Would y'all give a shout out to the Facebook Live? So good to feel everybody's presence. Love is who I am, who you are, who you are. Take a breath and take it in. I'm ready to experience my prosperity. Anybody else? I'm ready to experience love in abundance, peace, health, and party like a big dog. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? What about traveling to your favorite places around this world? Our dream. Just know that we are one. Yes. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent love who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say. I do not have to worry about what to do. Because love, the Creator who sent me, will direct me. Let love direct you. Let love direct you. I am content to be wherever my inner guidance, love, God leads me and wishes, knowing that Spirit, the Spirit of life, the Spirit of God, the divinity that created us goes with us. Do you know that you and me, we're not that far apart? We're not that far apart. We're beating the same heart. We've been together from the start. Carolyn, Freddie, Jacqueline, Tony, Myrna, Mallet. Welcome to A Course in Miracles Online. I will be healed as I let the Holy Spirit, my higher self, teach me to heal. I will be healed as I let love teach me to heal. You will be healed as you let love, truth, teach you to heal. I am you and you are me. I am you and you are me. That's the truth about us. Brother John Christmas, thank you, brother, for bringing that music to us. I like to get a chance to remind myself of the truth as much as I possibly can, and that's what we get a chance to do today together. I'm going to be on a section called Fear and Conflict. It's on page 28 in the Course in Miracles. Do you want to know how to let go of all fear and all conflict?
Yes,
Is that a worthwhile lesson? Yes. Okay. It's on page 28. And all we have to remember is that we don't have to believe it, accept it. We don't have to welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. And some of it's going to be quite startling. It's me I'm hearing. I don't listen to myself. Fear and conflict. Fear and conflict. Do you know that being afraid seems to be involuntary?
Yes.
It seems like it's something beyond your control sometimes. Your higher self has already said that only constructive acts should be involuntary. It should be that you just can't help but be constructive. The guidance of the Holy Spirit, your higher self, can take over everything that doesn't matter. While your higher self, your guidance, can take over everything that doesn't matter. And your higher self's guidance can direct everything that does matter. If you so choose, your higher self, its guidance, can direct everything in your life that matters if you so choose. If you so choose. Higher self says, fear cannot be controlled by me. I'm your higher self. I'm going to tell you right now, your fear cannot be controlled by me, but your fear can be self-controlled. What? Your fear can be self-controlled. Say what? Your fear can be self-controlled. Oh, yeah. Your fear can be self-controlled. Yeah. Your fear can be self-controlled. But your fear is preventing you from letting your divine self be in control. Your fear is preventing your divine self from giving you its control. So I'm going to tell you what the presence of fear represents. The presence of fear shows that you have raised your thoughts of the body to the level of the mind, which means you've forgotten that your thoughts create your reality and not your physical circumstances. When you believe that anything that you're going through is not controlled by your mind, this removes it from your control. This removes it from Spirit's control. And so when you forget the truth, it makes you feel personally responsible for them, and that's an obvious confusion of the levels. So it just told us that it looks like being afraid is involuntary, something that you can't control.
Yeah, sometimes you control it.
And really, when we correct ourselves, it says the only thing you shouldn't be able to control is how constructive you are. In other words, you just can't help but do it right. You can't help but do it good. You can't help but do it with love. It's completely beyond your control. You just do things great, and you just can't help it. Okay, that's the way it's supposed to be. Like in other words, it's no more this consciously trying to be loving, consciously trying to be kind. You just that way.
Yeah.
That's just the way you operate. That's the way you are. You just peaceful. And then it goes on to tell us that the control of Holy Spirit, the control of your higher self can take over everything that doesn't matter. So a smart person is saying, I want Spirit to take care of everything that doesn't matter. And that's usually everything I'm concerned with. The average person is constantly preoccupied with making themselves unhappy about things that really are not really that important in the real true scheme of things. Right? And then it goes on to say, and my guidance can direct everything that does matter. So we can be guided in what does matter. What does matter is letting go of anger, guilt, grievances. What does matter is letting go of my sense of separation from God and love and truth. What does matter is correcting my perception and seeing things with love.
Yes. Remembering that I'm one with God.
And remembering that I'm one with God. So my guidance can direct everything that does matter if you choose. And fear cannot be controlled by your higher self. Fear can be controlled by you. And it's your fear that keeps you from surrendering to the guidance of the higher self. We're busy trying to take care of everything on our own because we don't know how to surrender to something that's greater than our own intelligence. And most people don't even know there is something that's greater than their own ego. Okay? And then it says the presence of fear shows that you raise body thoughts to the level of the mind, which is a kind of a tricky statement. But what that's saying to us is that at some level, when I have fear, I have released the idea and I've let go of the idea, and I'm not recognizing that the fear is coming from the thoughts in my own mind. And I think the fear is coming from some physical situation or circumstance outside of me.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, any questions or comments about that paragraph? So you have guidance that can direct everything in your life that does matter. You have something that can direct everything in your life that does matter, and also everything in your life that doesn't matter. You can handle that too. I personally wanted to get involved with this because I want it to be taken care of by the universe instead of me trying to figure out how to do it every day. It's hard to have fun when you're scared to death.
It really is.
They tend not to go together. Okay, being terrified about whether or not I'm going to have food to eat doesn't kind of coincide with what I said earlier about partying like a big dog. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Chris.
So, constructive acts should be involuntary. The way I interpret that is that then I don't need to effort to be loving and joyful and everything. It comes naturally, right? Is that something that
it says being afraid seems to be involuntary. Only constructive acts should be involuntary. Doesn't mean you change your mind to the point that you're letting it be that way. So once you corrected your perception and you've done what the truth is asking you to do, then you will be a loving being. And so if you are being a loving being, then you're going to be of benefit to everything and everybody around you. It's sort of like the sun doesn't decide to shine on us today. It's involuntarily doing it because that's what it is. So that's what it's telling us. When you're true to who you really are, you don't have to worry about whether you're going to be loving, whether you're going to be kind, whether you're going to be forgiving. That's not going to happen. You don't have to worry about that. It's because that's just the way you truly are, up under all of the things that you've gone through and experienced in the past that made you feel otherwise. Yes?
So, before he had said that, what had came to my mind was that a lot of people base their trust boundaries off of people in the past who have made those boundaries be put up, correct? So,
speak louder, please.
If you go and when you approach or you get approached by someone you don't know, or different walk, or different, just different lifestyle, do you have that boundary up, or do you have that openness because it could change someone's whole walk after that?
That's absolutely true. When I've done my work to release the blocks within me that allow me to be that way. If we already knew how to be that way, we wouldn't be probably in here right now. Okay, so just remember that there's a process that we've got to go through. Yes?
I am in here today because I've been able to accomplish that.
Well, congratulations. If you've done that, then rejoice with us and rejoice with everybody else in here that's decided to do that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, let me go to the next paragraph. Okay, so higher self says, I do not foster level confusion, but you must choose to correct level confusion. What's level confusion again? Me being confused about what's creating the way I feel. Level confusion is believing that what I'm going through is based on how you act and what you do and something outside of me does. That's level confusion. Now, to not have level confusion is to understand that I'm giving everything all the meaning it has to me, and that's what's determining the way I feel right now.
Level confusion could also mean like victim consciousness, right?
That's exactly what
Okay.
level confusion is.
Okay.
There are two types of minds in the world. Those who believe they're responsible for how they feel, and those who believe other people are. Okay, most people believe that if somebody else changed, then they'd be happy. If somebody else acted different, then they'd be happy. That's most special relationships.
Yeah.
It's usually two people getting together telling each other how much they need to change for the other one to be happy. broken in two by going to a movie and not so good sex. Okay. Now, you know, because if you feel the anger, guilt, and grievances, you're not going to be the best lover in the world. Let me tell you. Okay. That's just a fact.
For real.
Yeah, that's just for real. That's just for real. Okay, and I'm going to be real because that's what God looks like. Everybody in here is grown and they're adults, so that's what I'm going to talk to you. Okay. And, all right. It's a lot easier to teach teenagers than mention anything. They're going to handle it better than adults do. And I'm going to talk to you anyway. Okay. Okay. Then it says you wouldn't excuse insane behavior on your part by saying you can't help it. You wouldn't excuse insane behavior, crazy behavior, acting stupid, acting crazy, by saying you can't help it. But the Course says, why should you condone insane thinking? We don't condone insane behavior, but we go right along with our insane thinking.
Yeah, oh my God, that's crazy.
Right? And he says there's a confusion here. You would do well to look at how clearly. So it would be good to look at our confusion. How clearly? I'm clearly looking at my confusion. Okay, so let's look at it. He says you may believe that you're responsible for what you do, but you may not believe you're responsible for what you think. So people believe they're responsible. They think, oh yeah, I'm responsible for what I'm doing. But they don't also realize they're responsible for the way that they're thinking right now also. That your thinking isn't just happening to you. You're responsible for the way you think. He said the truth is you're responsible for what you think because it's only at this level, what level? The thought level, that you can exercise choice. So the only level that we have real choice is the level of what we think. What you do comes from what you think. What you do comes from what you think. What you're doing comes from what you think. Everything you're going to do today is going to come from what you think. And not only that, everything you feel today is going to come from what you're thinking. Now you want to get to the point that you can look at your thoughts and your emotions almost as if they're objects. So that you can step back from your thoughts and step back from your feelings and observe them as opposed to getting immersed in them, engaging in them, and then getting caught up in it and losing your mind. So you want to get to the point that you can go, oh, I can see my feelings of anger, I can see my feelings of joy, I can see it. Because if you can see it, you're not it.
Yes.
If you can see it, there's subject, object. If I can see it, then I'm not it. If I can see the glasses, I'm not the glasses. So if you can step back from your feelings and emotions, that's how you know that they are not in control of you. You're the one that's in control of them because you can see it. And always remember your feelings and emotions are coming from what you would call emotionally charged beliefs. These are beliefs that you have told yourself so much that now they affect you emotionally. Okay? So it goes on next to tell us what you do comes from what you think. You cannot separate yourself from the truth by giving autonomy to behavior. What does that mean? It means I can't, the truth is still true even though I'm saying I just can't help it. So it doesn't matter that I say I just can't help but get upset. Sorry that you can't separate yourself from the truth. It's still true. You're the one making yourself feel the way you feel. It's much more powerful to say I'm making myself mad than to say you made me mad. If I say I'm making myself mad, I'm empowering myself. If I say you made me mad, I'm taking away my power. So I'm not going to deny that I feel anger. I'm just no longer going to give you the power to say you're the one that's doing it. I'm the one that's doing it. So even if I'm angry, I'm still making myself stronger because I'm not attributing to. If I'm sad, I'm making myself sad. So it's still me doing it. I feel good about you all today. I'm making myself feel good about you today. How I'm feeling right now is coming from what I'm telling myself right now. Okay. Then it goes on to say your behavior can be controlled by your higher self automatically. So my behavior could be controlled by God. My behavior could be controlled by my divine self. My behavior could be controlled by spirit. But in order to do that, how do you do that? It says right here, the way you do it is you place what you think under the guidance of God. In other words, if you tell me how to think, and then I think the way you're telling me to think, you're controlling my behavior.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
I'll say it again. If I tell you how to think, and then you think the way that I'm telling you to think, I'm controlling your behavior.
Yes.
If I said sit down, and you sit down, I'm controlling your behavior. But what I've done is I've told you how to think. She doesn't need it anymore. She's got it. Okay, so...
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. That's what I said. I'm rejoicing. Okay. All right. So I want you to think about that a minute. If you want to let the truth guide your thinking, then you have to let the truth tell you what to think. And it's telling us what to think right now. It's telling us that you're responsible for what you think, and that's controlling your behavior. So you tell yourself, I'm responsible for my behavior because I'm the one that's controlling what I'm thinking. So if I tell myself that that's my higher self directed me, because my higher self was what gave me these thoughts to begin with. So the truth that I'm studying in the course is coming from my higher self. So when I do what it says, that is putting myself under the guidance of God. That is putting myself under the guidance of love. So it says, whenever you are afraid, it means you've allowed your mind to miscreate. So whenever you are afraid, it means that you haven't allowed love, your higher self, to guide your thinking. So I'm afraid because I haven't allowed God to guide my mind. I'm afraid because I'm not letting the truth guide my mind. How am I going to let the truth guide my mind if I don't study it? So to think I'm going to make it up as I go along, which is what many people do, is why they are unhappy all the time. Because they could just get the correct way of thinking given to them through wisdom text or their higher self, just use that thinking will control their behavior, and then they start to experience more love and peace. So any questions about that or comments about that paragraph?
I would like to share just a really mini breakthrough that I had where I was able to
by all means, please
apply this last night, where I thought that I lost my little satchel with my new computer in it and my wallet and all of these objects that I give so much power to, and I thought it was gone. I thought it vanished. And it was late at night, and I was really tired, and I was sort of stoned, and I couldn't find my bag, and I was like freaking out. And then I was like, I was able to recognize that I was tired, recognize that I was stoned, and ground myself, and I was like, I'm feeling so much upset right now. I would like another way to look at this. I would really love another way to look at this. Beautiful. So I sat down, and because I realized that I wasn't going to accomplish anything except total crazy if I kept continuing to look, searching is such an exhausting vibration. And so I sat down, I closed my eyes, I was asking Spirit for another way to look at it. I really get along with the emotional freedom technique tapping, so I started tapping and just taking deep breaths and really getting that I was totally giving all of my power away to my insane mind, thinking that I belonged to these objects belonged to me. And I realized after I really settled it, asking for a new way to look at it really gave me a new way to look at it. And I know, imagine that. Yeah. And so I was like, well, if it is gone, then it's going to be an adventure attracting these things back, or maybe they're just completely gone and it's going to be adventure getting them. I'll meet the most amazing people, whatever. So I was able to get a real clearer perception. And it was late, and I knew that I needed to go to bed, so I was like, I'm not going to look anymore. I'm just giving it up. And I was actually able to sleep. So I woke up this morning, and I felt peace, and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, just gave it away to the Holy Spirit. And I went downstairs, and it was on my couch, just where I never put my bag, but it was just really interesting at how applying this truth really works, and then how I'm really willing again and again to give over my insane mind to God that I can experience
absolutely. I totally want. And remember that the way that you handle that is the way that you handle everything.
Yeah.
One of the biggest errors that the Course in Miracles says that we make that keeps our problems from being solved is we try to think of different answers for different problems. So we always come up with different problems. Then we think we got to come up with a different answer for every one of those different problems. And it says that's what keeps problems from being solved. As long as you think you got different problems, your problems will never be solved. So immediately, I understood why it looked like people's problems were never solved. Because everybody I knew thought they had different problems that needed to be solved. So it made sense when it said that. But if you take the same answer and you apply it to every problem, you'll have peace. Like when you recognize that you needed to change the way you were looking at it. The thing, as far as you knew, the computer was still gone.
It was
The
so
only thing
gone.
that happened was you changed your interpretation of the situation. You decided to look at it like, but if it didn't show up, I'm going to be okay. But if it does show up, I'm going to be okay. In other words, the problem was in your mind, and you worked it out in your mind, which is what all problems are anyway. But an unaware person always thinks that that the answer to any problem is to get the disturbance outside of themselves straightened out rather than to change their perception of the disturbance. So even ask themselves, what part of me is feeling afraid and disturbed? So great. Just remember to do that every time. And I love the fact that you said to yourself, I want to have peace even if I never see the freaking computer again. Because see, we still have a tendency to make our peace be dependent on it
If I
turning
find
out
the
the way.
computer.
Right. Because we're pretending we know what's going on. And so we pretend we know what's going on by judgment. And through our judgment and then our interpretation of things, we think we know what's going on. But the truth is, we're just making it up as we go along because we're afraid to admit we don't have a freaking idea what's going on. And we don't know what's going to be going on later on today. But that's too frightening to adults. So adults judge everything so that they think they know where we're coming from. You know, so that's great. Did y'all hear that? That's what we're talking about in here. We're talking about the fact that the answer to your problem is where the problem is. And the problem is always in your perception. That's always where the problem is. Always, 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 all. There is no exception to that rule. Ever. You know, whatever's going on in the world, the only reason why it's bothering you is because of what you're telling yourself. Why do you think there can be so many people that's not bothered? Yet they're in the same situation in the world. They don't care about climate change. Some people don't care about climate change. They don't care about healthy eating. They don't care about anything. And it happens to those of you who crucify yourself because you ate a hamburger and you got to kill yourself and get with guilt because you're a vegetarian. And to do that, you think it's almost a sin. So now you're beating yourself up because you happen to not be able to pass by a Big Mac. You know what I'm saying? Okay? So now you beat yourself up. So actually you are hurting yourself in a lot of ways as far as your peace more than the person that's eating a Big Mac in total peace. Because they're eating it and going, all right, I think I'll go to the park. You eating it and go, oh my God, I'm going to die, my cell's going to rot right here right before I get the dog tastes good, you know. So remember, ultimately, your peace is coming from you. Your peace is coming from you. And I'm going to say this over and over and over and over because we heard the untrue stuff over and 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 over. Right? So let's go to the next paragraph. This section is really awesome. Now,
say something real quick, Beckett? When you were talking about like feelings being like objects,
yeah. Feelings, look at your feelings as objects.
the picture I got is like you just watch it like a parade.
That's right.
Like it's going through like a parade, you know?
And here's the problem. Something that the parade is going by of your thoughts, and you grab one. It's just like the parade going down the street and I grab me a majorette. It's going to be disruptive. But if I just watch the majorette, everything will be cool, right? So that's what we do. Here go your crazy thought. You go, oh my God, I'm not enough. Why am I not enough? Let me look at this, I'm not enough. Oh my God, you know what I'm saying? And then another thought comes back. You're stupid. Oh my God, you grab that one, and so you put the other one on the shelf. I get back to you. And then I put this one on here. So before you know it, you got a library of insanity. Right? And you're spending all your time dealing with these thoughts you pulled out of the parade. If you had not pulled it out of the parade, what would it have done? It would have went on down the street. So stop taking your thoughts so seriously. The reason why we have so many problems is because we think about ourselves too much. You think about yourself too much. You think about yourself too much. All day long, you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about what you want. You're thinking about the way things should go. You're thinking about what somebody's done in the back. You're thinking about yourself too much. That's your problem. That's really true. We're self-obsessed. We're self-absorbed. That's why when I hear people talk about they're concerned about what other people think about what they do and how they dress, I'm not going, but you really, do you think everybody's thinking about you? You really are making a big error.
Yeah.
People are not, they don't care what you wear. You might come in with something and they go, oh, that's really ugly. Then they go right on to the conversation or whatever. They're not going to spend the rest of the day obsessed about the things you had on. They're too busy being obsessed about theirs. So just cool it. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. Nobody's caught up in what you're doing all day but you. That's the whole purpose of getting a special partner. So somebody will care. Okay. That's your job, to care, when nobody else does. You know, and I'm gonna make sure you do. You know, I'm watching you. You know, all right. So it says it's pointless to believe that controlling the outcome of misthought can result in healing. So, in other words, I got thoughts that create an illness. I'm going to focus all my attention on the physical illness, but that's the outcome of my wrong thinking. So, focusing on the effect is not the same as focusing on the cause, because it's the cause that needs to be changed in order to stop it. Then it says, when you're fearful, you've chosen wrongly. Oh, I'm afraid. I'm making the wrong way of looking at things some kind of way. Why? Because I'm afraid. So what I do, I say, I'm afraid, I'm angry, I'm wrong. I'm wrong what? In my perception of it. Why? Because I'm looking at it in such a way that's not giving me peace. That's the part that's wrong. So somebody could, let's say, you could have had your back window in your car, could have been broken by the hailstorm. So you're getting upset about that would be the wrong perception. I'm not saying you don't feel justified getting upset about it, but a wrong perception is always any way that you're looking at something that you lose your center. So it's true, the fact is the window is broken. And it doesn't make any sense getting angry at a fact.
Yeah.
It's done, it's broken, that's done.
Yeah.
So a correct perception would be exactly what Paris did earlier by saying, how can I look at the broken window in such a way that I can get back to center and get back to peace? Because if I can get back to center, I will probably come up with the best solution or be given the best solution about how to deal with that. Okay, then it goes on to say, you must change your mind, not your behavior. You can act like you like me and still hate me. That's really not changing anything. So you can act in ways that's opposite to how you think it. So he says you must change your mind, not your behavior. And what is that? He says it's a matter of willingness. So how do I change my mind? I have to be willing to. So you don't need guidance.
Should I close the door?
Oh, his cake must be done.
Okay.
Is the cake done?
It was an opportunity for me to practice what I was just talking about. That's what this whole life is. We love ourselves so much we give ourselves endless opportunities to see it another way. So don't worry about if you miss one opportunity. You're going to get another one. So don't worry about that. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Man, something happened today. I didn't choose to see it in such a way that I felt peace about it and I blew it. So will something else happen that I could get upset by? I think so. So I'll see if I can get a chance to do it again. Unless, of course, I really want to punish myself, because if I want to punish myself, then I'm going to keep looking at it in such a way that I feel bad. Because I want to punish myself. Okay? So then I'm taking it sentence by sentence because it's interesting how many times I hear people say the Course in Miracles is like too hard. You know, but the thing about the Course in Miracles is that when you hear it in the company of other people, you can hear it a lot of times. You notice if you got the book, I'm looking right at it. It says, you don't need guidance except at the level of the mind. It says you don't need guidance except at the level of the mind. Correction belongs only at the level where change is possible. Okay, where is change possible? At the mind level. So that's the only place you can correct anything. If you notice, he said the same thing in about 4 different ways. That's why when you're reading the Course, don't stay on the sentence until you think you understand it. It already knows you probably won't, so it stays in the So therefore it'll say the same things 10 or 12 times, so that maybe one of the times you'll get it. Okay? So when you study the Course and you're reading it for the first time, keep reading even if you don't understand what you just read. Because it's going to restate it so many different ways that one of those ways that is going to hit you and you're going to go, oh, I got it. Okay, I'm just giving you tips as we go along. Change doesn't mean anything at the symptom level. It doesn't make any difference for me to change the way I behave towards you and I still don't like you. The truth is my mind is still the same. Okay? Any questions about that paragraph? I'm trying to clarify the paragraphs I'm covering. There's no end to opportunities. We have another opportunity to see things differently. Isn't that right?
Right.
And they're good. Are we blessed?
Yeah.
I can just see it now. Somebody take your positive space. You go, oh, wonderful. It's another opportunity for me to see the difference when you got that car run over you. So, what's the key points? Trying to work at the effect level doesn't make any real difference. Whenever you are feeling afraid, it means you made some kind of a wrong choice. The only place that you really need guidance is at the thought level and at the mind level. That's the only level that you need help on. Where the course says, I'm going to have you a little snack here, a little boiled parrot. Okay, now, I'm changing my mind. Y'all see that? I turned him into a delicacy.
Tender.
Yeah, that's like a little parrot burger. It'd be like awesome. Okay, yeah.
So, is the mind always at the cause, and the effect is always whatever it is that I'm experiencing?
Whatever you experience and perceive.
So, mind level is the cause.
It's always.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you would apply it to how you feel. That's why I keep referring to it that way. The way that I'm feeling is coming from the way that I'm thinking, right? So for me to change my behavior when I really haven't changed my thinking, I've really not changed anything. And I'll tell you something else. Whenever you're talking to somebody, it's what you're saying to yourself behind the words that you're speaking that's teaching you, and not the words you're saying to people. So I can say, I really appreciate you, but in my mind I'm saying, boy, you really got real issues. Then that's what I'm learning, is that you have real issues, not what I said to you. So you can talk to people as nice as you want to, but it's what you're saying behind what you're saying is what's affecting your consciousness. And you know that. You know that better than anybody. Because sometimes I catch myself getting ready to lie to myself. Like pretend, like I'm upset, and I try to pretend I'm not. It's really weird. It's like I've been so programmed to try to be positive that when I'm upset, I'll try to pretend I'm not upset with myself. And then I was like, well, that's really stupid, Dad. Even if you're going to pretend with everybody else, the last thing you should do is pretend with yourself. You know, be honest with yourself about how you feel it. And it says correction belongs only to the level where change is possible. What level is it that change is possible?
Mind level.
The mind level.
Cause.
That's right, Pamela. We need the strength of love instead of fear. That's exactly right. Okay, we'll go to the next paragraph. The correction of fear is whose responsibility?
Mine.
Your responsibility. When you ask for release from fear, you're implying that it's not your responsibility. If I ask you to release me from my fear, then I'm saying it's not my responsibility to release me from my fear. You should ask instead for what? Help in the conditions. What kind of conditions? You want to ask for help in the conditions that made you afraid. So, I'm afraid right now. I've got to release myself from my fear. So, how do I ask for help then? I ask for help in the conditions that have brought the fear about. Whatever's making me upset, I need help in the way that I look at that. Then the next sentence says, these conditions, what conditions? The conditions that brought your fear about, what are they? They always entail a willingness to what? Be separate. I'm afraid of you because I'm willing to be separate from truth, separate from God, and separate from love. That's why I'm afraid. I'm upset because right now I'm separate from love. I'm separate from peace. I'm separate from God. Okay? At that level, you can help it. At what level? The level of, I've got to have the willingness to have my perception corrected. Now, I'm giving you one answer after another answer to get you out of everything that causes you any kind of conflict. The person who has reached their limit in conflict, they're hearing me. The person who has not reached their limit in conflict, you are going unconscious and you don't. That just means part of you still wants to go through that right now. And then the person that's hearing it, they made a decision that they don't want to go through that fear anymore right now. Both people are innocent, both people are cool. Because guess what? Every time I say this, it reinforces my belief in it. So I never lose out of any class I share. Regardless of how anybody in the audience is reacting to what I'm saying, every class I reinforce the truth in my mind more and more and more and more. So remember that. You answer people and you talk to people in terms of what you want to reinforce inside you. Don't worry about whether or not they're going to understand what you're saying, because they're not. Because they don't even hear what you're saying. They're just hearing what they're saying to themselves about what you're saying. That's all anybody's doing. Okay. Then it says, you are much too tolerant of being crazy as hell. That's a paraphrase. Thought I just made the course a little simpler. So you're much too tolerant of what? Mind wandering. What's that going around the eye? That's Earl's mind and wandering around the church. See, your mind might be wandering around this evening. Your mind may be wandering around, you're hungry. Your mind may be wandering around, it's hot in here. You see what I'm saying? You're too tolerant of that. You're too tolerant of not thinking correctly and keeping yourself focused on the truth. Then it says, what does that mean? Whenever you read something in the course, you go, what does that mean? And then you read the next part of the sentence. You are passively condoning your mind's miscreations. I'm thinking incorrectly, and I'm just going along with it, and I'm not really trying to change anything about that. I've often said, if people would work on their mind at the level that they work on their bodies, it would be an amazing world that we live in. Right? It says the correction, he says the particular result doesn't matter, but the fundamental error matters. What does that mean? It means the correction is always the same. Remember I said earlier that when you really begin to really get this, you start using the same answer no matter what comes up.
Yeah.
You get to the point you can say that about a relationship that didn't work out, or a job that didn't work out, or something that your mother said to you. You see what I'm saying? You get to the point you go, oh, okay, I can see that different. I want another way to look at what my mama just said to me right now. I want a way to look at it that I'm okay with my mama do what I want her to do, or whether my mama don't do what I want her to do. I want to be okay about that. See, that's what you do. Oh, my boss didn't give me the kind of evaluation I wanted today. Okay, I want another way of looking at it. I want a way of looking at this that I feel peace. If my boss does change her mind and say, I looked at you the wrong way and you deserved more than I gave you, or if they said, you're on the way out of here Friday. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what, I want to be able to look at it in a way that gives me peace. And it's not by you having an outcome that you think must happen in order for you to feel good. That's the ego. That is the old way. So it says change doesn't mean anything at the symptoms level. The correction is always the same. Check this out. Before you choose to do anything, does anything mean anything? Anything. Before you choose to do anything, ask me. Go within and ask your divine self if your choice is in accord with your divine self. If you're making a choice in accord with your divine self, your real self, your God self, do you know how you will know it? You will have no fear. See, that's the trip, because when you really hear that, you realize how many decisions you make that don't have anything to do with your divine self being okay about it. If you're saying, oh, if this is the direction I should go in, then there will be no fear. Now, what does that mean? It means I'm looking at it in such a way that I'm not afraid. So now I can see what to do more clearly. So if I'm asking and I feel fear, then the first thing I need to do is ask for help in the conditions that's making me feel afraid, because that's making me have distorted perception, and it's hard for me to make right decisions as my perception is distorted. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of my fear. But once I get rid of my fear, then I can see more clearly what to do. So I'm thinking about getting married. I'm scared to death. All right? So what does that mean? What it means, before I deal with the issue of whether or not I get married, I need to get rid of my fear. So once I get rid of my fear by having another way to look at it, then I'll make the decision whether or not I'm going to get married. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Always make going back to center your number one priority before you actually do the action, if at all possible. Okay? Because remember, the thing outside yourself is never going to it doesn't make you happy anyway. You already know that. Come on now, you already know that. You know you're never satisfied no matter what happens. Come on now, get real. You know you always want the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. We all know that it's always after that next thing around the corner that gets handled, then I'm going to be happy. And as soon as I get that done, then something else comes up, and then something else comes up, and then something else comes up, and then... So the smart person realizes that the problem is they got to get rid of that part of them that's already coming up with something. That's the part of me I need to do something about. That part of me that's never letting me be satisfied about anything that happens. Not try to do what it wants me to do when I know as soon as I get it, I'm going to want something else. Because there's a fundamental lack going on within me. That's the issue. That I feel empty inside, and I'm going to fill that emptiness up with stuff.
Or people.
Which is stuff.
Yeah.
People are stuff. You know, are you unhappy because you don't have your latest stuff?
Yeah. I need stuff to go to
You need, that's right, you need stuff to go to bed by. Okay. And the other day you told me you needed stuff to go to bed with, but that's a whole other story. Now, fear is always a sign of strain. Whenever you feel fear, if you're saying, you should say, I feel a strain right now. And it comes whenever what you want conflicts with what you do. Fear means, right now, what I'm doing is conflicting with what I want to do. What I'm doing is conflicting with what I want to do. I feel afraid. This situation arises in two ways. So fear arises in two ways. This is the first way fear comes up. Fear comes up when you choose to do conflicting things simultaneously or successfully. You're doing one thing after another thing, after another thing, after another thing that you feel conflict and fear about. Sort of like a regular day. Right? Yeah, I'm going to a job I don't want to go to. Right? I'm doing stuff on the job I really don't want to do. Then I'm being called by somebody I don't want to go home to. And then I got a car that I wish I had another car. Then you know what I'm saying? It's like, you think about it, the fear-based mind, oh, I heard something on the news today that depressed me. So all day long I'm doing one thing after another, or I'm doing a lot of things at the same time that I don't like to do, right? Then it says this produces what? Conflicted behavior. So that behavior will become intolerable to you because the part of your mind that wants to do something else is outraged. The part of you that wants to do something other than what you're doing, that part of you is pissed. You know, the part of you that wants to stay at home and stay in the bed versus the part that wants to get up out of the bed, that part that wants to stay in the bed is outraged. Whenever you don't do what you really want to do, there's a part of you that gets outraged. And that's where fear comes from. Then it says the second level that causes fear is you behaving the way you think you should without entirely wanting to. So I'm acting kind when I really want to not act so kind. I'm behaving the way I should. But I'm always behaving the way I should around y'all without really wanting to. Yeah. You're doing it too.
Hell yeah.
You always sitting up here behaving the way you think you should.
Yeah.
You know you are. You know you are. So when you behave the way you think you should, but you really don't want to do it, you have consistent behavior because you look the same all the time. You know, you go to work, hello. Actually, when I was in management, I would come in with my briefcase and I was, good morning. And then as soon as I close the door to my office, I fall out on the floor and cry. Because I hated my job. You know what I'm saying? So I was looking consistent. As a matter of fact, I was so good at looking consistent, even though it wasn't what I really wanted to do, that they wanted to promote me. I was terrified. You follow what I'm saying? You can keep on behaving like you're nice, and people will think you're nice. But y'all know you're not. But y'all are lovable, but we're not nice. Totally lovable people, not nice. Don't you get tired of trying to be nice? But you want to be loving.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I say it again. If you are behaving the way you think you should, but you really don't want to, you're going to feel a lot of strain because your behavior is out of accord with your thinking. And that's going to present you with a situation where you're not totally doing what you really want to do. So if you are not doing what you really want to do, it says this arouses a sense of coercion that usually produces rage and then projection. is likely to follow. What that means?
Yeah.
I'm mad, I'm not doing what I really want to do, and I'm going to say, you're making me do this. Projection. You're the one that's making me angry. I really don't want to go to that movie, but you're making me go to the movie even though I don't want to go to the big movie with you. I'm behaving the way I think I should even though I don't want to. I'm doing what I don't really want to do. So rather than me taking responsibility for that, I'm going to project it on everybody around me. And then it says, whenever there is fear, it's because you haven't made up your mind. Wherever you're feeling afraid right now, you haven't made up your mind. You got financial fear, you haven't made up your mind. You got relationship fear, you haven't made a decision. Wherever you feel fear is where you haven't made up your mind. And you could also substitute anger, guilt, depression, whatever. So substitute these terms when you're upset. Go, right now I'm feeling jealous. Okay, that means I haven't made up my mind. I haven't made up my mind that I'm going to get rid of the part of me that gets jealous. I haven't made up my mind that I'm going to look at the other. What I'm going to try to do is make sure that my partner doesn't do anything to trigger my jealousy, which is the crazy way to do it. If you were to imagine a thorn being in your foot, and rather than you working on how can I get the thorn out of my foot, you try to come up with a box that you put around your foot all day that keeps your thorn from being touched. That's us. Rather than get rid of what's causing our problem, we try to arrange our reality so that we never get disturbed. That the thing that upsets us never happens. So we think a right relationship is me being in a relationship with a partner who doesn't make me do the thing that makes me jealous. No, what you should do is get rid of the thing that's making you jealous within yourself. Then you dealt with your jealousy. Now you change the cause of your jealousy.
And therefore you'll change the effect.
Which means you won't get jealous.
Yeah.
None of them will be able to affect your peace. Wait, hold me, paragraph. All right, okay. It says your mind is therefore split. What's a split mind? Just like some pants. Like what's a split mind? It's a mind that hasn't been made up. It's a mind that hasn't made a decision. It's a mind that hasn't made a choice. So how can you tell when your mind is split? Your behavior is erratic. I don't know how you're going to be from one time I see you to the next. Every time I see you, you're in another mood. You're behaving in another way. One minute you're happy. The next time I see you, you say it. Next minute you jump. And all that happens is usually based on simply one thing. The way that you made up something should go, it looked like it went the way you wanted it to go. Which isn't real happiness. Because as soon as that don't happen, you're mad again. Right? So people who have erratic behavior are people who never make choices and decisions for themselves. So the Course in Miracles says if you correct the way that you behave, then you can shift the error from doing one thing after another that you really don't like to I'm going to behave the way I think I should even though I don't want to. If you're doing either one of those, you're not obliterating your fear, you're not obliterating the problem, and you're not obliterating the anger. Okay, so I want to make sure we hear the answer to this. So I'm going to keep going right now. What was your comment, Chris?
So it's interesting because as you're talking about this, like I have that going on right now. Because I had a situation where like I told something to someone and I didn't mean it the wrong way, but they took it the wrong way. And so like, I don't know, like I felt like I was wrong, that I was bad for saying that, and like I wanted to express that in the term of like I'm making myself feel this way about you, but like I feel like I can't because I'm afraid that I'll lose her friendship if I do. So then the part of me is like no, you can't tell her, you have to figure this out within yourself. And then the other part that wants to is that strange because the other part is like furious. I'm like, well, you know, like this is the way of me giving myself validation.
So the answer is one answer to what you just said, right? The answer is, first of all, I think that that's an incredibly impossible goal you set for yourself, which is to be responsible for how other people respond to everything you say. There is no way, listen to me, there is no way on earth you can ever pull that off. Okay, I want you to be clear about that. You will never, ever, ever be able to pull off you're being assured how somebody else is going to take what you're saying. So that's the first thing that you need to recognize, is that so the correction needs to be at the thought level. So what would be correction at the thought level? It would be me telling myself, there is no way that I can really control how somebody else is going to respond to what I say. That's the answer. You know, and then you felt bad, right? Well, that's because you've been taught that when you do something wrong, you should feel bad as a form of punishment. So you immediately punish yourself for what was an impossible goal to begin with. You know, if somebody really loves you anyway, they ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, if you got a friend that you can't say anything to each other where y'all have any kind of misperception in your relationship, survive that, it's not a real relationship. That's what I call a new age relationship. In my experience, those are new age relationships. People in the new age, new thought, you said one little thing that they get upset about, they disappear.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't do that, but I see it a lot. That we seem to think being in relationship with somebody means you're never going to have misperceptions between each other. And as soon as there's any kind of misperception, you blow it way out of proportion because you convince yourself you're supposed to always get along no matter what and don't ever say anything to each other that never upsets each other, which means you have to be enlightened, but you're not yet. So what I really want is I want to be with somebody that I can express my fears and what's going on with me, and we can make the decision that we're both going to try to go beyond whatever that is because the relationship is valuable enough to us to make whatever changes we need to make in our thinking in order to have peace with each other. Yes. That's the kind of relationships I want. I'm not interested in these relationships where I got to say everything the way you want to hear it in order for you to be okay with me because I don't know what you're thinking. So how in the world am I going to always know how to phrase things in the way that you're going to be okay about it? Yeah, it's crazy. So it goes on to say, guess what? It's possible to reach a state in which you bring your mind under the guidance of God without conscious effort. What? It's possible to reach a state in which you bring your mind under the guidance of your higher self without conscious effort. But this implies a willingness that you haven't developed yet. It's possible for me to let spirit take over in my life so that I could really have a really cool experience, but I haven't developed what? The willingness. It said the willingness. You haven't developed this yet. The Holy Spirit, which is your loving right mind, your higher self, cannot ask more than you're willing to do. Love never asks you to do more than you're willing to do. Anybody that loves you never asks you to do more than you're willing to do. They never try to make you do something you don't want to do. Love never tries to make you do something you don't want to do. Love, it will only ask you to do what you're willing to do. Then it says, now the strength to do something comes from your undivided decision. So if I don't have the strength to do something just because I haven't made an undivided decision to do it. If you made an undivided decision that you're going to have a happy life and you're going to give yourself fulfillment and peace, you'll have the strength to do everything it takes to do that. What you don't have the strength to do is what you haven't decided to do. So anything that you say you want to do that you're not doing, you haven't made the decision to do it. I'll say that one more time for my own, I'll say it again. The thing that you have no energy to do is the thing you have not made an undivided decision to do. Okay? Then it goes on to say, I love this. It says, the strength to do comes from your undivided decision. There is no strain in doing God's will as soon as you recognize it's your will. It's no strain doing what you want me to do when I want to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the only strain we have to doing God's will or Spirit's will is we don't want to. That's why it seems like this is tough. I don't want to do it. I don't want to forgive you. So forgiving is so hard. Why? Because I haven't made an undivided decision to do it. Why is my life so sad? You haven't made an undivided decision to be happy. Why am I so lonely? I haven't made an undivided decision to no connection and joining. The moment you make an undivided decision to do something, you will have the strength to do it. Then it goes on to tell us, I love this book. It says, there is no strain in doing my will as soon as you recognize that your butt want to do it. The lesson here is quite simple, but particularly apt to be overlooked. I will therefore repeat the lesson since you're apt to overlook it. I'm going to urge you to listen. Only your mind can produce fear. Only your mind is making you mad. It's only your mind is producing lack, but it's also only your mind is producing love. And it's only your mind is producing joy. And it's only your mind is producing fun. And it's only your mind is producing really cool relationships. That's your mind. I was at a gathering last night where I was surrounded by people that I felt really a lot of love and great connection with. I was there because of my mind. If it hadn't been for my mind, I wouldn't have drawn those people and been in that situation. I was real clear between the connection with the people I was around and why I was there. It's the way that I was thinking. Now, I watched some people become frightened at some of the things that was going on at the gathering because of what they were telling themselves. And then I saw other people that were in ecstasy because we did a puja. I don't know if you know what a puja is, but it's basically people being asked to acknowledge each other and look at each other and say loving things to each other and appreciate each other. It's hell. It's hell for people. Okay. So you saw some people that, like, I want you to clear this room out quick. And this was my class. All I have to do is every time y'all came to this class, make y'all interact with each other. Most of you will stop coming. I'm here to join, but not now. Okay. Actually, I'm here to join, but with that special someone. It's really not that I'm joining with these folks. There's a special one that I want to join with. So people were being asked to interact with people who weren't special.
Yeah.
And so that bugged them. See, we say we want to join, but the truth is there's nothing we're more afraid of than joining. And there's nothing we're more afraid of than connecting. We love separation. Now, we pretend we don't. But I love the fact that if I want to be around you, I can get in my car and drive off. But if I was joined with you, I had to stay with your butt all the time. So this joining stuff, I'm only willing to do it if you're fun. If you're loving, if you're sane, if you're peaceful, if you take responsibility for yourself and you're not blaming me for everything you go through and you let me be and I let you be, now I join with you. But the way we think, when it's about the other person being responsible for my happiness and me trying to control their behavior so that I feel good, I'm so glad I can separate from you. And it's a good thing because when I separate from you, I can work on myself and change my mind, forgive you, and then come back together with you, seeing you in a different way. So we can use separation to heal. Separation isn't bad when you're already in fear trying to go to love. Actually, when you're in fear, separation is what keeps us from killing each other. When we don't like each other, love each other, know each other, feel connected to each other, then I want to get back from you and you back from me. So if I'm in a fear state, I'm going to want to separate from you. But what I want to do is use this fear state to correct my perception so that I can join with you and recognize that you are me. So separating to heal is a good thing. Sometimes people who are together right now, they need to get away from each other so that they can look at themselves and look at what needs to be changed. But they're staying right under each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like when somebody's mad and you're mad and you're not in the same mind, and then they go, well, hey, well, I need to go take a drive. I need to get away from it and clear my head. You go, don't you leave? Don't you go away from me? You better sit here. No, I don't want you to stay right here and talk to me right now. No, I'm crazy right now. I might kill you if I stay here. You want me to get in the car and go so I can look at it again. But if the person really wants to be attacked, they're going to get in your face and they're going to press the issue because they want you to attack them. They want you to attack them because they're already attacking. So they want to equalize the situation by making you an attacker too. Or else it'd be like, you know how you get mad when you going off and the other person's calm.
Yeah.
You know how that bugged you. You know, you done lost your freaking mind. See, are you alright? See, I told you. It's like, there's a part of me that wants you to be just like me. Just like me. So the Course says that only your mind can produce fear. It produces fear whenever it's in conflict about what it wants. When you're in conflict about what you want, you feel strained because what you want and what you do are discordant. I want this, but I'm doing something else. I want this, but I'm doing something else. You can only correct this by accepting a unified goal. What? If I'm spread all over the place and I got a lot of conflicts and a lot of problems, then what I need to do is accept a unified goal. I need to have one goal for everything. I want peace and harmony through my relationship with God. I want peace and harmony in my financial situation. I want peace and harmony in my relationships. I want peace and harmony in my relationships. I want peace and harmony in every area of my life. I have the same goal with you that I have with you, that I have with you, that I have with you. I want us to have peace and love with each other. So I don't have to come in this room and figure out what I want out of each one of you. I want the same thing with all of you. So I don't have to figure out how to treat you because I don't have different goals for different people in the room unless I want to jet you out of the processional in the parade for my own special purposes. And then that's when the trouble starts. When I grab the majorette, that's when the problem starts, right? So here's the prayer. Here is the prayer. Here is the prayer. On the count of 3, scream. 1, 2, 3. Did it feel good? Yeah. That felt so good. Yeah. All right, so the first corrective step in undoing the error is to know first the conflict that you're feeling about that person, that situation, or that thing is an expression of fear. All right? So you say to yourself that you must somehow have chosen not to love, or you wouldn't be feeling afraid right now. I've chosen not to love, and that's why I'm feeling afraid right now. So the whole process of correction becomes nothing more than a series of pragmatic steps in the larger process of accepting the atonement, which is the undoing of fear. Atonement means the undoing of fear as the remedy. These steps may be summarized in this way. Know first that this is fear. Fear arises from lack of love. The only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. Perfect love, complete love, is the atonement. It is the undoing of fear. Know first that this is fear. I'm afraid of you right now because I'm not loving you right now. That the only remedy for a lack of love is complete. Perfect means complete. Perfect doesn't mean you reach this state beyond which you cannot grow anymore. Perfect just means there's nothing missing in you. You are complete. That's what perfect means. Acknowledge yourself for hearing this much Holy Spirit. That was some deep stuff. Come on, you know you feel good. Give me some cold. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to do a quick recap right at the end, and then you're going to bust out of the room at a breakneck pace. Why don't people run out of their class on Sunday screaming? I tell you, I'm just getting warmed up when it's time for y'all to go. Hey, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with me. I really, really appreciate you sharing with me financially. Thank you, those of you online. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, go to my website, earlpurdy.com. I'm a full-time teacher. This is what I do in the world. If you want to support my teaching ministry, I really do appreciate that. I'm also available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, and also available for mentoring. Go to my website. It explains everything that I share. I got some incredible people that I'm working with that have contacted me, and it's been awesome. There's nothing that you're going through that there's not a solution to that's in the Course in Miracles. There's not anything you can tell me that you're going through that I could not point out the area of the Course in Miracles that tells you exactly how to deal with that. But what did he say earlier? It takes what? Willingness. Willingness. I have to have a little bit of willingness. Also, on Tuesday night, I do the Way of Mastery at 7 o'clock Mountain Time online as well as here, which is really cool. I love this stuff. And I love you. You know, I feel so blessed to have people like you in my life that want to hear another way of looking at it, and also willing to admit that they have an ego, that they want to get past. I'm willing to admit that I do too. So I'm going to say the prayer. Now realize lack of love just means lack of giving yourself freedom and the truth. So you could say it this way. You could say it this way. I want you to think of a situation in your life right now that you're feeling some kind of conflict. I know it's hard, but you can do it. Try to think of something that you wish were different. Try to think of something that you have been giving yourself conflict about. And then tell yourself, the reason why I'm going through this problem, this feeling right now, is because I'm either behaving the way I think I should without really wanting to, or I'm doing one thing after another that I really don't want to do. Are you doing one thing after another that you really don't want to do? Are you doing one thing after another that you really don't want to do? Every time you do something you don't want to do, you're actually increasing your fear and your conflict. Do you know that if you're spending all day being with people that you don't really want to be with, going places that you really don't want to go, saying things that you really don't want to say, that increases fear and conflict? And when you increase your fear and conflict, it distorts your perception of your life. And the areas in your life that you find yourself feeling energized and peaceful, you can tell yourself, hey, this is where I'm doing what I really want to do. So you know how when you're doing what you really want to do, you feel so good. You just feel, if you go on and express yourself with a person you want to express yourself, and you know you can express yourself, you can communicate, you can enjoy them, they can enjoy you, then that's when you're not making fear, when you're doing what you really want to do. So if you're finding that you have a lot of sadness and a lot of grievance, then you're behaving the way you think you should, but you really don't want to. So you want to ask yourself, where am I behaving in a way that I really don't want to behave, and who am I behaving around in a way that I really don't want to behave around? Now, at first, you may not be able to do what you really want to do in every situation. So what do you do when you know all day long you're doing stuff that you really don't want to do? You start with the little things that you know you can change, the little things that you know you're in control of, like friendships. It may look like you're stuck with the family you were born with, but friends are your choice. Friends are your choice. Now, why would you be wanting to go see somebody that when you're on the way you hope you have a wreck? Why would you want to go and spend somebody? You know, you're making some fear for yourself. You're making some fear. Now, this is what you say. Know first that this is fear. Fear arises from lack of love. I say, why? Fear arises from lack of love. The only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. So, if I'm feeling fear, I want to get out the way so I can share love with you. I want to get my ego, my fear out of the way so I can experience love with you. So, what do I do with you if I don't want to experience fear with you? I only do with you what I really want to do with you that you want done to you. So I got to listen, I got to ask, and I got to see what it is we can both agree on that we would love to do together. And as much as possible, let's do that together. Because if we can do the thing together that we love to do together, it's going to decrease our fear. And the more fear that's decreased, the closer we come, the more love we share, the more we enjoy our relationship with each other. So let's imagine that there's somebody in your life, a relative or a friend, and you know that you've been behaving the way you think you should without really wanting to, or you keep doing one thing after another with them that you know you don't really want to do. So you need to tell yourself, oh my God, this is fear. Every time I go see this person, this is a lack of love. So I need to give them some perfect love. How do I give them perfect love? How do I give them perfect love? I go, what can we do together that we both love to do? What can we do together that we both love to do? I don't care what that one thing is. Let's find the thing that we both enjoy doing with each other, that we have no guilt about doing with each other. And as much as possible, I am going to do that with you. There's another way that you can get rid of fear in relationships, which is this. If you don't want to do something and the person wants to change their mind and do something else, you try to support them as feeling as innocent as they can possibly feel. Then they won't feel like, oh my God, you've imprisoned them with your friendship. Because if they choose to change their mind, you won't condemn them for doing it. Then they'll think about you when they want to have a good time and feel peace. So they will be using you to get rid of their fear. So I'm advise you, as much as you can, do what you want to do the rest of the day. In terms of what you have control of, do what you want to do the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Do it with someone that wants to do it with you.
Yeah.
As much as you can, stop behaving the way you think you should, even if you don't want to. Because you only deserve. Tell somebody inside of you, you don't deserve nothing but love. Hey, brother, you deserve nothing but love, man. You deserve nothing. And we're gonna end this on one little cool thing. Tell that person, you bless the world because you bless yourself. You bless the world because you bless yourself. Online, you bless the world because you bless yourself. Marina, you bless the world because you bless yourself. Elizabeth, you bless the world because you bless yourself. Now tell me for yourself now. I bless the world because I bless myself. Woo! I bless the world because I bless myself. I bless the world because I bless myself. And we bless the world because we bless ourselves. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. All right. All right, y'all. Go home, go play. Do what you want to do the rest of the day. I love you. Give it up to us. Y'all awesome. And hugs are available. I love juice and hugs. And you're just a blessing. Those of you online, you're a blessing. All of y'all. Y'all blessings. Y'all blessings. Y'all blessings. Put your man hand me that right behind you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.